Hello there! It is Tuesday. It is 3:30. We are live with Lava Sub as of right now, folks. I'm glad to be here again this week. It's a very special episode that hopefully will boost us in the algorithm because we're talking about Nintendo stuff and especially Pokemon stuff. Hello, I am Weston or Lava Sub. Either works for me, and I'm joined by my oldest and bestest, one of my good buds, one of my besties. Seth. Seth Moore MacDonald, say hello to the audience, my friend.
Hello, audience. It is so nice to be here. This is just cool. I mean, I love talking to my friends. So this is just all the fun.
And we're talking about something that has been an obsession of both of ours for a long, long time: Pokemons and Nintendo. And the Pokemans, I love them. I love them so much. And you had recently, well, a few weeks ago at this point, hit me up kind of out of the blue with just one question. Have I ever told you my strange Nintendo fan theory? I'm paraphrasing, but I have known you long enough to know that I should not, I should just give you the floor at that point. And boy, did you not disappoint me.
Well, I did my best.
Dude, I'm gonna start drawing, and I just want you to get into it. Please tell the audience all about this.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm just gonna say that I live in Montreal. I've learned French. Things are pretty cool here, but also weird and stupid. But that's kind of how it is anywhere. So, are you ready for
I'm so ready.
Excitement, adventure in a world where forget that. So anyways, this is actually sort of long time formulating because I came up with this a long time ago when I was at work, and I work in a bakery. I work with a lot of really cool people. It's called Automne Boulangerie in French, which just means the autumn bakery. And nothing but cool people that work there and spitball and tolerate all of my antics and stupidity all of the time. And I do a lot of yelling and being an idiot, really, all the time. Sometimes they have to tell me to be quiet, but it doesn't happen terribly too often, and most of the time it's at night. I used to work more alone at night, too, which made it more easy and fun, and things got kind of weird because now all of a sudden we have bakers around the clock, and people just always around, and it was a sort of a hard transition for me because I'm just used to being alone and just being able to go "Ah!" or just any kind of weird if I want to, or
a release,
say anything. Yeah,
a break in the pressure and the tension. I feel you, man. I worked in a food service before, and you need that sometimes.
Well, luckily, I'm not actually a baker or anybody that prepares anything. I'm just cleaning and maintenance, which is really cool. But I digress. We just have nothing but fun, and I love my peeps, and they're really good to me. And as I like to say, as of last night, say "chez automne par la tonne," which means automne by the ton, which is us all the time. Anyways. So I've come up with this theory, and I often talk to my coworkers and spitball to them and just say whatever's on my mind, completely stream of consciousness, however crazy it is, however much fun or however ridiculous. And so this is something I've come up with to myself, and I've watched a lot of Reddit videos, and I don't actually use Reddit or am on Reddit at all, ever. But after following, and watching some about fan theories and stuff, that kind of got some gears turning. And it's just all these people, they're like, give me your fan theories, man. Just give them to me. And all the time where it's just, okay, are you ready? Just strap in, guys. Come on. Okay. It's just you can picture some guy just he's hitching up his pants. He's rolling up his sleeves. Okay, are you ready? Strap in. I am. You are not even going to believe what I got for you. But anyways, so it just occurred to me, though, that Yoshi eggs are Pokemon eggs, and there's no getting away from that. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo was just wanted to transfer one to the other just so that they could flex and assert their property status over a franchise that's already something that they've owned since the beginning. But they just want to make sure that it's Nintendo. But regardless,
energy, baby.
it is energy. But they did create sort of a loophole here, where you just have to accept that Yoshi is a Pokemon, ex post facto. He is retroactively, but he is. There's
Of course.
no getting around that. You can't say it's the other way around. I mean, all Pokemon are not Yoshis. It doesn't work that way.
True.
You can't have it that way just because you want it that way. Just because, like, I wanted pancakes and waffles are the only thing in the house, and I'm just gonna cry. But at any rate,
right? No, absolutely. Like I definitely see where you're coming from with Yoshi eggs, and I mean, I'm pretty sure they're the exact same sprite. There's no, I mean, there's not much, if I can remember any, if any, discernible difference between a Pokemon egg and a Yoshi egg.
There's absolutely none, and you can't just say that they're different or insist upon it. It's like there's nothing to say that there is or isn't. Nobody's like, and let's just be really clear here. There is no transference between these two worlds. They're completely separate, and I just want to believe that Nintendo has these things completely thought out and just wants to separate them. No, just shut up. Shut the fuck up. This is Marvel. MCU has changed everything, okay? MCU is... that's just the end of it, okay? Anyway.
Well, I absolutely feel you. We've completely stopped, No, I don't want to interrupt and go on my own MCU rant. So you just,
we can
vibing,
talk about
baby.
That. We can talk about it a little later.
Yeah. Yoshi eggs.
Anyways,
Pokemon eggs.
So first of all, Yoshi eggs. The art style, let's be real too, is completely compatible. Yoshi could 100% be a Pokemon. You could put it in there, and it would feel like a meme, and because people know, be like, oh, what's Yoshi doing in there? Come on, but like if you think about it, if you just stuck him in there and nobody knew him before, you wouldn't question that he's a Pokemon, right?
1,000%.
Like, there's no reason to say the art style doesn't fit or anything like that. And colors, everything, like it just works. And like, if you even want to say, oh, but there's like a pink Yoshi, there's a girl Yoshi, like it doesn't. Except that Pokemon totally works with that. Like we've seen Pokemon of the same type with different color schemes, or now we even have genders. So there's just there's nothing that can keep this away.
Right. I mean, we've had shinies since what? Gold and silver.
Right. Like, early on, very early on, Generation 2, there's just no getting away from that. But think about this, okay? Ash is basically young Mario. I mean, like, this might be a little hard, but if you just
blue pants,
slap it on there,
from.
fucking slap that mustache right onto Ash's face. He's Mario. I mean, Princess Peach may as well be Misty. I mean, sure, she got to dye her hair, but like, I mean, that's really nothing. Like, Brock is totally Toad. Okay, let's just think about that for a second.
Personality-wise, you're absolutely.
And that's exactly. Nothing is out of place here. I mean, Toad is a little bit like ambiguous and understated as a character. There's not a lot there. But was there really much more there with Brock? I mean, let's be honest. He's just a horn dog, and that's about it.
Yes, it's an
horn dog that wants to breed Pokemon and cares so much about that, but he's really just a man with a puppy. Let's be real.
I don't know if that's an innuendo, but I think
he's playing the game. No, he's playing the game. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
He's like, but I'm a soft, sensitive breeder. I mean, like, come on, girls. Why aren't women interested in me? Just love me. I don't get it.
Yes. A character type, well known in cartooning all over the world.
Well, we know that Toad doesn't really say much, but like when he does, when he again doesn't say anything, but when he acts out, I mean, he's still like in there. It's in that space.
Sure, and honestly, it depends on which Toad you're talking about, which version of Mario, because sometimes, like in the animated show, Toad did talk.
Yeah, right. He was a little goofball, for sure.
I think, anyway. Okay. Tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. I could be wrong on this now that I've said it out loud. Thank you, Sam. I don't know. Were you on
I
mic?
mean, it's not like he's nonverbal. We know
Yeah, our
we know
producer
he's
Sam
not.
just wanted us to graciously reminded me that yes, Toad did talk in the cartoon.
Well,
So
I'm sure that he talked. Like, it's just that in my memory, like, talk all that much, but that was mainly in the games, you know, like, and he didn't really have
right,
room. Sometimes he was just a facilitator of the story, you know, that's it. So there's not much there at all. He's not
sure.
even he's kind of a borderline character. You don't really know, but none of that really matters. I mean, again, is Brock really much more that when we think about it? I think bottom line is he's a side character, you know?
No, certainly. I mean, I don't even know how far into the animated Pokemon show's chronology Brock went. I know that at a certain point he dropped off and
He's like,
comes
I'm
back
out.
for cameos, but yeah.
You know what, guys? There's just not a whole lot of women to be found hanging out with a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. I don't know. I gotta find my way. I gotta find me. You know, I gotta do that. Eat, pray, love.
Yeah.
And Sam just said, was Brock supposed to be the responsible adult? And I mean, he kind of was, but I mean, like so many like step brothers, they just kind of fucked off after a while. I mean, he abandoned his whole family. Let's not forget that. He abandoned like fucking 16 kids. Excuse me for that one. I'll try to keep them in the bank. But yeah, 16 kids, I think. Just like one day his like absentee father is like, you know, I think I can be that guy. Like, let me do it. Let me take care of all the kids and you can do your Pokemon dream, guy. Like, it doesn't even go like, you know, I think I want to like hang around for a week and make sure that the kids are going to be just nope, gone. Bye.
Bye.
Completely last minute instructions like you got this. 100%. Anyways,
I'm glad you remember because it's been so long since I watched the cartoon.
I remember that much though. Like, I mean, I wouldn't really be able to tell you anything from later years, but like I was like 11 when that all came out, and I just absorbed that. Like, my autistic monkey brain remembers everything so well, but my memory is shot today. I could tell you like what I ate for breakfast when I was 6 before kindergarten, but I can't tell you anything I did the day before. Anyway,
I'm right there with you, bud.
that's just the crisis of getting old. It really is. So anyways, as I continue with my sumptuous radio voice, a man with a voice for radio and a face also for radio, but a body that is still for radio. Anyway, but let's get completely through the looking glass here, people, because
Yeah.
shit is about to get really serious. Really fun. Really serious, you know what I mean?
Please,
Okay.
yes.
Now here's really where things start to really pull us in, because Bowser is clearly a failed attempt to splice a Charizard, a Venusaur, and a Blastoise together a la Mewtwo in pursuit of ultimate power. No joke. When the
As you can see in our art for the day.
what Silphco.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Undeniable. No, but it's undeniable, right? I think you can see it all. It's all there. 100, like maybe not all of the features clearly, but I think they're all there. You know, they're all in there somewhere.
Oh,
But when the
absolutely.
gang discovered,
Oh, yeah. I just think, especially as the character of Bowser evolves. I mean, think about all the different versions of. Think about Sunshine, Mario Sunshine. You know, I mean,
yeah,
exactly. You know, we have the similarities from all of the different like final evolutions of the original 3 Pokemon, which is why I chose this. Char-Tortozar turns into a Bowser. That's, it's a little Digimon for Pokemon, but we're talking about
but I
a
mean, this
greater
is a
fan
freak of
theory.
science here. And
Exactly.
obviously Digimon is a complete ripoff of Pokemon. I mean, it's not like the digital elements aren't already there. It's like, really, like, can I copy your homework? Okay, but just change it a little bit, bruh. Like, for real. That is 100% what is going on here. I mean, but if we talked about the character, Bowser, that is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that's also clearly seems to be embittered. You know, it's a lot like Ash's story with his own Charizard. You know, he
Oh, totally.
feels like he hasn't lived up to himself, and he's outgrowing Ash faster than Ash is even like getting hair on his face. So, uh, or pimples even.
You
I
know,
think
I
that
mean,
there's
maybe
just like
Ash
you
just
know
has
this.
a really good complexion. You know, I don't know. Maybe he does really good skincare while he's on the road.
Well, there are
Part of
a lot of
discounted,
many reasons. Some fan theories have even talked about this because that's something that I want this theory to address as well. This is critical here. But let's continue.
Yeah.
When the gang discovered what Silphco was up to, taking a page from Team Rocket's foibles and playing God, and attempted to free Bowser, the team of scientists discovered and foiled their attempt mid-break-in and siphoned them off into the Pokemon storage system, locking them into a simulation, which is where the Mario world first began. Did you get chills?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got chills.
I got chills. Absolutely. Just in case, because I know we're a little bit, uh, we're very we are talking at a fast clip here, so I just want to make sure everybody in the audience knows we're talking about if Misty and Ash and Brock or Toad and Mario and Peach had ran into this experiment going on with making a Bowser out of Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur. I'm sorry, I just wanted to
You're
clarify.
almost
Please
there.
keep going.
Yes, but well, you're almost there with my theory. But I will correct the slight imbalance there. Hang on.
Please.
Um, but I just want a quick sidebar though. Like Bill is responsible for creating the Pokemon storage system and the transfer system, and he maintains all of that. Although there's a lot of ambiguity, as my most recent research has been showing me, because I want to believe with all of my heart that Porygon is the reason why the entire transfer system works. Like he's a creative Pokemon, but he's basically software. He's created a software that started to create more of itself, and but this would be more of an elaboration if you saw like more like the live action real life has to have better real life explanations version, I guess. But it
Sure.
doesn't tend to work out so well for the most part whenever you transfer things over, try to give it more detail. Just build it more. The Michael A version of Pokemon. Yeah, that's what we all want to see, am I right? Everyone wants Pokemon with more explosions and seizures. And like 10 times more seizures. And can we give kids more seizures? Because this isn't fun anymore. Anyway.
Absolutely. You know, I didn't say
I
it
don't
at the
know.
top of the program, but you know, I know that if you're listening, you already know this is probably true, but I should say it anyway that just content warning for just about any potential we might get into some funky territory today. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. That's the last thing either of us would want. So, sensitive material,
Well, no, we want our
we'll
audience to
probably
be
be
very
fine.
comfortable.
I just like to get it out of the way at the top of the program. I totally forgot today, but yes. Sorry.
We promise
Continue.
our words will not be touching actual children today. I hope that's this content is not supposed to be accessible to children at all. It's not supposed to be, but everything on the internet pretty much is anyways, so we're sorry about that, but that's not on us. Let's be real. It's just not on us. Anyways, but on Bill created all of this. And I think that if you were to like expand out, I think Porygon really is kind of responsible for all of that, because it seems like in order for Pokeballs to be even transferable, it's like you have to make physical objects reducible to data, raw data points. That's all that it really can and should be. Because how else are you going to transmit it electronically? And all of that explicitly is so even in the original story, as simple as that is, you know. So we clearly dealing with something. Bill is not responsible for creating Porygon, as far as I know. He was created in a lab. It was created in a lab in Cinnabar Island, but according to the anime, it was created by a Dr. Akihabara, which is also like the red light or creepy district of Tokyo. But that's a complete aside. Pokemon really didn't
Oh.
want you to have that association, I promise. Anyway,
Sure.
as far as I know, He has nothing to do with it. But I think that it was necessary to have a Pokemon's power. At some point, it became alive and self-aware, even though it's software and programming, and it can basically project itself outside of the system and exist in the Pokemon world to a limited extent, but it's not really clear. Even the anime makes it seem like Porygon can only exist in cyberspace. But at the same time, all of the crazy shit that happened, I believe that Porygon was responsible. That's another fan theory. I want to tie into this really hard here. Just want to tie it down so that the end snaps and you just can't untie it anymore. Like completely sidebar fan theory here. Porygon caused the seizures itself. Like, not that wasn't an accident. That's not like some human error. You know, the human error, like Godzilla, was creating Porygon. Let's be real. There's no denying this fact. We have too many children who have suffered of seizures and never had health complications in later life to possibly avoid that. Anyway,
wait. So in this fan theory, that's in this universe. That's where people would get like epileptic seizures and things, or is
it's a demonstration of Porygon's power. Porygon is so powerful that it went through the main system, it went into the Pokemon world, and then straight out of it into our world.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is like a multiverse of madness.
Yes.
Okay, I can get on board.
Technically, Pikachu caused it. He shot Thunderbolt, and that for some reason turned into missiles in the Pokemon world. Who knows why? But again, Porygon was responsible for maintaining and managing all of that, so it's kind of his own fuck up. Unless it itself AI, which makes sense because there's nobody calls it that, but that's what it has to be. It's sentient. It's alive. It's a Pokemon. So
right.
If Porygon does anything, it has to be as an AI. In the same way that AI constantly creeps out and tries to take over the human world and escape, it's no different than Skynet, people. We just have to be completely aware of this. The danger is real. The danger is real. Pokemon is dangerous. Do not expose your children to this madness. It's Harry Potter and witchcraft all over again. This is all dead numbers, old news, but nobody wants to listen. Did I mention that chemtrails are real? They're my farts, by the way.
Oh my god.
It's coming, but scientists barely managed to stop that once and lock it down, okay? So we gotta thank those Pokemon scientists for protecting our world too. Those are the true heroes.
Absolutely true hero. Yeah, exactly.
I also want to mention this is a good time to just, if you internet people, I'm not going to do the work, but if you would just start a GoFundMe to create a fund for some kind of monument so that we can honor those scientists, it would be great. I won't contribute a dime to that, but it would be extremely poggers. Please get XQC to say something about it, internet people, please.
Please don't.
But no, okay, completely serious here. This is serious time. Did we mention the show was called Serious Time with Weston and Seth? No. But I really think that works as great fan theory as well. But to get back on track here.
Wait, hold on. I found an M on Venusaur's butt. I'm pretty sure this proves your theory right.
No.
Look, this is an M for Mario.
Can we get the Luminardi music here? Can we Luminardi this?
Oh.
No?
And this is an S for Samus. So Samus Aran is involved, I'm pretty sure. And this is a square, so it's probably Minecraft too.
The signs are there.
The signs are all here, man. It's
the truth is out there.
Alright, I have to 100%. Cover up the truth because I'm complicit now.
Can we just throw in a bunch of 100s and fire emojis in the chat, please?
Please.
No, don't do that. That's stupid. Please, nobody do that.
No, do it.
No, but seriously, okay, do it. But ironically, it had.
But
I want you
ironically,
to put a /s or an irony thing
yeah.
somewhere. Just hashtag irony the shit out of that. As long as you stamp it real hard, it matters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you for
let's
clarifying.
continue here. No,
Yes,
but I think
please.
that Bill in the Porygon kind of like because like I didn't remember to mention that other when I was telling you before, but I think that that's all there. So when they entered this world, basically Bill got the phone call and the scientist, oh my god, there are these kids. Do you know who these kids are? And like since all the telephones are video phones in Pokemon, Bill's just like, oh shit, I gotta clean this up. Nah,
Right?
man. Why are you meddling kids? Why you just
These
gotta
meddling
ruin
kids.
these goddamn meddling kids? Anyway, so they rewrote and gave them new identities, consciousnesses, and memories. 100%. Bill is just like, oh man, okay, guys, listen to me carefully. This is kind of sort of unethical, but just follow me on this one. Put them in the transfer system, and then let's clean up the lab and see what we can do after the fact. I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna just underwrite or just completely subjugate all of their human rights here, but let's think about this. This might look really bad for us in the press, right? I don't think any of you guys want to lose your jobs. Like, I think I don't want to lose money either. This is pretty important, right? Okay, I'm glad we all agree on that.
Of
It's
course.
really important that we all agree on this. Okay, now that they're in there, like, talk to Porygon. I think Porygon can handle the whole thing. I'm pretty sure. Like, so he rewrites them and completely is like, can you just suppress their memories? Please, can you just like Porygon's like, hell yeah, like I mean I could do this. You think I can't do that? That's easy.
Of course. Of course.
So they completely changed them into new characters and keeping them forever unknown and out of harm's way, which was clearly the best way for Bill to handle this crisis and perform damage control by preventing it from ever seeing the light of day. That's so scary. Said like 3 people listening to this.
Yeah, no, I hope you didn't get too frightened, everyone. If you're too frightened, let us know. We'll sing you a lullaby.
Yeah, we totally got your feels. Don't worry about that. Okay. This
Yes, I will do
do
anything
that.
for money.
Okay, for people who didn't get that, Sam just said that asked Weston, can we please just do a lullaby thing, a reference, so that later on people can enjoy and appreciate that? And yeah, we're all about banking on self-owned content. Am I right?
Absolutely. I'm yes. We all need money is the
Fork,
thing.
yeah. Fork, yeah. Corporate boardroom of us. High fives all around.
Yes.
Okay. But I'm sorry. I already own it. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is why the maps and tubes to different worlds and realms works the way that it does, because it's basically just the mainframe of the Pokemon storage system. So in the Mario world, if you're wondering why everything is strange and doesn't make any goddamn sense, it is a video game, but it's not just any video game that's in your world. It's in the Pokemon world. Everybody is trapped. This is all compartmentalized within the Pokemon world. So Nintendo really put its, right in there deep. So I don't know how graphic and explicit I can be, but I think you can imagine certain appendages that go inside of things. So just had to
You
really
nailed it.
explode inside of it. Yeah. So, anyways. But it's there for a reason, because Porygon is its own stream of consciousness, imagination going wild all over that. So bombs just sort of fly around in the background like giant whale sharks that are just like eating clouds, like whatever. I'm not even a part of this, but you don't have to question it because it's fun art. Am I right? Like
Right.
that's just its own dream state going on, because Porygon perpetually exists as something that's between consciousness and surreality in cyberspace. That's just all that's happening. And so that's why that everything is surrealistically linked in a manner clearly governed by computer logic, and that's why the world works the way that it does. They're just inherently trapped in the limbo of the Pokemon storage system's mainframe inside of the Pokemon world. And long after everything has already come to pass onto its final chapter, all of this is already set in place. No matter how many episodes later, no matter how much has gone on, all of the original, in which, by the way, we just don't know what's the real canon and what isn't. And I mean, all of it is too much to possibly. Ash has been 10 years old for 10 years now, or more, or 20 years, 20 years, actually, excuse me. But like,
Right.
I don't know how consistently they've been making the episodes. I know that they've basically almost done it nonstop, but with some hiatuses, I think. I don't know though. I'm not clear on that. But
Me either.
they've just been going at it nonstop, and no matter how many episodes that could not possibly fit into a single day, because I think there's like over 1,000 episodes or close to it now. We're talking to get like on the levels of this is on the levels of One Piece, I think. It's starting to be like One Piece at this point. Like that's too many episodes to fit into a single year. I mean, assuming that every episode happens in the span of one day, in which some of which clearly cannot. There's some stories that clearly cannot have occurred in one day, but we've already
Yeah,
gone
and
well
obvious.
beyond the number of episodes per days in a year.
Right. No, and beyond that, they do like lots of obvious time jumps and things like that. I mean,
Yes.
there has and Ash isn't even always the main character at this point, but
Exactly.
even
And I
during
think
the
that's kind
course
of
of the
how they've.
original, even during the course
Yes.
of the original show, it definitely seems like there's no there's no accounting for how much time has passed. So
Yeah,
it
there's
could
no
be
count for
exactly
the
as you
passage of
say,
time.
as Ash has never aged, and even if
Which is
Ash
this
were
is
to
another
age,
fan theory that people have approached, because people have said that maybe he's in a coma and stuff like that, which is that's the same other fan theories, like Homer was in a coma in The Simpsons, stuff like that. Like he just stayed in a coma after he had his heart attack and stuff like that.
sure, it's not necessarily entirely dissimilar from what we're saying, but it is dissimilar in a very important way. A very important distinction to make between the two is that it would be like a coma, but intentionally a medically induced one, intentionally
Right.
put on 3 minors in the means of silencing them from their illegitimate corporate activities.
It does work that way, but it's better than that, because they're in the limbo of the transfer system. Their entire bodies have been reduced to data points. And this is also coherent with like what we've already gotten within the original Pokemon lore, because in that episode some people might argue it's not canon because they pulled it out of circulation altogether. That it's not,
Oh,
right.
that
Like
episode.
yes, it's all because of that episode. Which is what makes this even better, and mentioning that sidebar theory as well, because this is all happening, and it's one incident that points in that direction, But all the
Sure.
same, I think it still must hold up, because we still have evidence that the gang went in cyberspace, and their entire bodies and being went into cyberspace. So since they're in this limbo state, they don't even have bodies to like take care of and turn around to prevent them from getting bed sores and stuff like that. They're just completely muted, and their entire existences have been uh well, I'm trying to think of the word, I can't, but they've basically been suspended. They're kind of in a state of suspended animation, cyber
Right.
suspended animation. So like all of that is just up in the air, and what that means is just have these kids who have not even memory themselves, but all of these things are sort of floating around in there. This is Inception, people. This is serious. This is a dream within my ass. But that's where I like to hide warm, ethereal, gassy, comfortable stuff. So
Sure.
that makes the
Absolutely.
most sense to me.
Same.
I mean, we love holding on to that warm one, don't we? It just kind of feels good up until it hurts.
I don't know about all of us, but continue.
I think all of that. Anyone who says they don't is lying. Okay, anybody who says that is just they don't want to admit it. They're just not secure enough. Okay,
I'm
I know
sorry.
it. I'm sure of it.
I just need to draw attention to what the hell is Charizard? What are these ears? What the fuck is going
Oh, well,
on
they're
here?
horns. Well, they're horns.
I am perplexed by this sprite. I was like
They're
sitting here
horns,
trying
though.
to draw it. No, sure, the horns, but what is the neck doing? Can anyone explain to me what the neck and head are doing? I'm sitting here looking at this like I'm trying to parse this shape out, and it just keeps making less and less sense the further I go. All of these like polygon and like essentially square shapes that are trying to
Well,
bend into an arc, and it's not working great. He's just so
few things
curvy
work great.
that they, yeah, okay, well, this is the one
Assuming,
thing I'm really confused by, because it's like the wing is
well,
interrupting the neck.
let's just that's the fact that you've implied that Charizard is thick, and go straight on to that. You know, I mean, like, come on, give the artist credit, bro. It's hard. You know, like they just want
Oh,
to do something fun. They
no, absolutely, you're
you make
correct.
up the monster.
I know a couple pixel artists, and I have nothing but respect for them. It is not an easy thing to do. I've
You know what?
tried and always fail.
That is hard, it's true. But you know what? Like, especially you can also clap them on the back because like they totally improved. I mean, if you look at the Japanese versions of Red and Blue was originally green in the Japanese version. It's like if you go back to that and you look hard, like you go okay, like they did clean up the sprites for the American release. They really did. They're a lot better. But when you go back and you look and you're just like, what is that? A butt plug?
Oh my
Kind
god.
of like that sort of thing.
This created the bad dragon line. Sorry, too niche?
Okay. I think I need.
Alright, yeah, so
But anyway, look.
so back to the main arc here.
Yes.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, hit me.
Okay. But this is why that Ash is perpetually 10 years old, is because his memories have been put aside and held on reserve and put in a safe place. It's literally some kind of purgatory going on, and their main consciousnesses have been mutated into new ones that keep them safe, so that they are not freaking out. They're not desperately trying to break out and make sense of what's going on around them. They've been put into a safe state of mind so that they can just interact with their world around them as video game characters. And it's like being able to play Mario all the time, which of course it's a nightmare. If you've ever like tried beating those levels endlessly day after day and spent your whole, I mean, there's a point where it almost feels like work. I'm serious, but
Oh dude, yeah, I did that over the pandemic. Or I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but yeah, the pandemic. I tried to beat all of Super Mario World with no cheats, and I couldn't.
it's hard. Yeah. Like, and it's no wonder that they're stuck there. But basically, they do. If you're just stuck directly in it, and that's just you're moving around and guiding your character as if you're real life, or at least some version of it that makes sense. Anything that doesn't line up with reality is easily like backtracked back into their minds, into everything has been reprogrammed so that everything feels normal to them. They no longer have this because they are the characters now. So that is the reason why we have the entire Mario world. And anytime that this changes, anytime that they come close to beating the game, Porygon just changes the rules. Completely just changes the rules on people. And it becomes this entirely new thing. And that's what we have to owe for all of the Mario games in the franchise. Every single one. Boom.
Boom. Exactly. Boom, dude. Yes. You see. Yes. This is one of my favorite fan theories, and it's kind of hard to debate against it because it's so you've put a lot of time and effort into this.
Right. It just sort of occurred to me, like, the basic of it was like, oh, what if they're just the characters and the games are the app? Because why not? Like, all the other came, but like when I pulled on that yarn, it was just like, oh damn, it really is all there. All of it makes sense. You can tie all the strings together. It's like the strings on Charlie's board. Just like, okay, guys, I got this one. He is who he is.
Wait, you broke up for a second there. The strings on what?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
It's like the strings on Charlie's board. You know, like Charlie from Sunny. You know, come on.
Oh,
like,
I don't watch it.
Listen, man.
I know what you mean now.
This is all real.
I know the meme, at least.
But oh, come on, you got to know the meme. Yes, you know the meme. You know the
yeah,
meme.
I know the meme for
That's
sure.
all that matters.
Okay.
That's all that matters. All the strings tied together.
Yeah, please don't take my internet away. I need this.
Same here. Canadian government, if you're listening, like, you know, I pay taxes sometimes, so you gotta give me that.
Yeah, bare minimum. Give the man that. You know.
I pay taxes every time I go to the gas pump, and I pay for things. I might be behind on my returns, but no, I'm up to date. I swear, it's okay. It's just a joke.
Yeah, it's just memes. Just memes, dog.
Please don't bust into my house. I didn't do anything, FBI. I know this that the border really doesn't separate me from the FBI, but
I'm gonna force you to plead the fifth from now on about this. As your legal representation, not really at all. But okay.
I will take you as my legal representative. It's better than representing myself.
I don't recommend it. I am a verified goblin.
Either. But it's arguably it is better than representing yourself.
You're not wrong there.
Some people do that okay though.
Those people,
anyway.
Yeah. Let's not. So Pokemons and
but
Bowser.
I think what is left of that, where Ash's memories have been preserved, he is basically in a dream state, and that's the whole show. That's Pokemon, just going on forever as if nothing is different or matters. Just like runs into his mom sometimes, and you know that shit is somewhere in his consciousness, like deep in there. Like he's just days away from realizing that his mom and Professor Oak are hooking up all the time. Like, oh, Ash, it's nice running into you here at the beach. How awkward. It's fun. It's all fun, right? 100%.
Oh my god.
But anyways, as Mario characters, they are motivated by muted and abridged parts of themselves that are locked away, and they are thus guided by the yearnings of their character personae to beat the game, in futile attempts to break out of the simulation and return to their true identities. And their constant attempts force Silphco from time to time to create maps for them to break into without escaping the simulation altogether. And they just playing these games endlessly. So far, Smash Brothers has proven to be the most effective at keeping them distracted or from breaking, because that can just go on forever, and it's fun. I mean, nobody can deny that. You can just play that endlessly.
I have, and I will do it again.
Yeah, like I think Smash Party is going to be like a thing all the way until the end of time for sure. Like 1,000 years from now, people will be like, "What do you play before this?" Chess. People still play that too, yeah. But I mean, think about it.
True.
They thought that Paper Mario was going to be the revolution, but that didn't actually work out. They thought that would be the permanent solution, but nobody liked that.
Yeah, Mario RPG is my jam, which is
that she liked Paper Mario. Everybody laugh at Sam.
No. Okay, so I want to reiterate that now that I've kind of outlined this Charizard, it is horrid. The other two sprites look fine, but this Charizard sprite is a nightmare. I don't know how to do this better. I'm gonna just start over. Because this is truly a horror. I'm gonna have to really, I'm gonna get a little more creative with this one, I guess, because I don't know what it's trying to do, but it's doing it badly. I don't know what
man.
I mean, it's achieving what it's supposed to do, I guess, as art for the game at the time. But
It's doing
for
what it
trying to
needs
draw
to do.
it
It's
right
doing
now,
it's doing its job. That's all.
especially when I zoom out, it does look, it makes more sense because you're supposed to see it that way, right? So maybe I'll think of a way to kind of like take these shapes to simplify and see what it's trying to do if I zoom in on every detail. You know what I mean? Okay, going
For
in
our
again. I'm
audience.
sorry.
Well, good luck for the second round or for later iterations. Show it people. But I do want to say for our audience that is assumedly not children, hopefully not children. There's always some children, but
Supervision
we mentioned that
recommended.
before. For the audience that's not getting what we get, Sam said maybe Charizard is going to audition for America's Best Dance Crew. I think what she said. Yes, and then before that, when I was laughing like an idiot at nothing, she said she liked Paper Mario and that hey, I like girl games. So what? Which that was kind of a funny defense in my opinion.
Right, I keep forgetting they
Also, my
can't hear you
opinion
today,
matters, right?
Sam. Thank you, Seth, for keeping our audience informed. I'm so astounded and in love with your theory and Pokemons that I totally forgot to say something. So thank you for doing my job for me better than I'm doing it.
Well, I mean, we're all lost in this whoa space. Am I right?
Absolutely. I'm woe to the max right now, bro.
I really hope the audience has been like, what? I can only imagine the few nerds that are sitting there just like, I can't even accept this. This is not. This was actually really funny because I shared this theory first with my coworkers and friends, Brooke and Nico, and Brooke loved it, and Nico was like, what? Immediately, and it's like, no, are you telling me they're in the mainframe? Oh man, just no. You're telling me all this is in the Pokemon world? That's right. I don't give a damn. I do not accept that. I'm like, I know. It's like peanut butter and jelly and Trident toothpaste all in the same jar. Am I right? It's like,
to some it might be sacrilege. To me, it's genius.
well, and it's absolutely sacrilegious. But you can also some sacrilegious things you can't ignore. I mean, like all of the Michelangelo paintings and things like that. There's just stuff in there that clearly is not acceptable, not church approved at all.
I love it. Yes, let's get into art history. Damn.
Art history is fun. Well, I mean, there's some eggs on the table that in the 12 whatever painting, the Last Supper painting, but I don't let's not talk about that. Everybody's talking about that.
I was kidding, but I love that you went there for.
No, I wanted to say that humorously though.
You're right. Ultimately, I 100 as an artist approve this statement. I'm signing off on it.
I just thought it was hilarious though, because my coworker Nico was just really almost upset. He's like, "No, I can't. It doesn't work for me. All these have to be separate. This is just even when I talked about the idea of one leading to the other, we forget all of it's in the Pokemon world stuff. It was already no, just stop talking. Why are you feeding me these uncomfortable soothsaying some kind of
No, I know. I think it's frustrating to think about the fact that there is this world of all of this creative potential, so many different big worlds that people have created that give you an opportunity to kind of play in their sandbox just by your own imagination. But the moment you try and do that, it's you get a bunch of nerds on Twitter telling you that you can't do this to their beloved franchise.
But what about Girl Yoshi?
Girl Yoshi, 'cause pink. Don't you? Why can't you understand that? Yes.
How about
the most
how about
absurd takes.
well, I more like the idea that both the Yoshis are girls and that like the pink one is actually like became the intersex boy to so that they could reproduce and lay the Yoshi eggs.
Wow.
Yes, of course. No, but I mean like for the insemination part of it.
Oh
Sam
yeah.
just said
So
that to be fair, only the female species lay eggs, but of course that's true. That's always true. And by the
it
way,
is.
the egg came before the chicken because the egg is an evolutionary staple that precedes all birds.
Wow. You're really coming for the sauce. You really want to court controversy today, Seth. Wow.
I'm
Wow.
coming for you.
No, but I
Well, I mean, it's been solved. The chicken and egg thing was solved a long time ago by biologists, and nobody listened to them. Nobody even cared.
Is anyone
So which
surprised?
do you think
No.
came first? I think the chicken came first.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn right he came first.
my God. He solved it.
I should never have come, but it felt good.
Oh man, I really hate this Charizard.
This has great timing, I think. All of this has
Drawing
really great
Charizard
timing.
is now the bane of my existence. I'm gonna give up being an artist after this. Holy shit.
I started out drawing a Charizard and now it's a penis. Can just help me, psychiatrist? Why do they all come out penises? Can you
I think
tell
that's
me,
a you
Freud?
problem. Thank you.
I 100% can't see any of it because like I just don't have like functioning enough stuff for this, and I'm also worried that I might boot myself if I like use Discord on the other device, and I totally can't do anything with this. So, but I'm assuming that that's all true.
I do want to point out to everyone listening that Seth is very graciously holding his phone up to his ear like a man of the Neanderthal
caveman.
period, like a damn
caveman.
caveman, burning his face on a hot phone just for us and for you. And I think he's very brave, and I just want to point this out.
The weird thing for all of us millennials is that now that we're in our mid-30s and we're talking about how old we are, we're starting to become just like the generation 100 years ago, where people were just like, I can't even believe people from the 19th century are still alive. Like they're like old, and like we're rapidly approaching that point where we're the people who are using the spinning wheel for years. Like you guys have the spinning Jenny. Wow. I can't believe all of this advanced technology that allows me to siphon off wealth and pretend to be an intellectual bad boy like Elon Musk, because that's living the life.
Oh man. Yes, I fucking love you.
Well, we're just having fun, which is the best part. I'm holding my adorable cat, by the way. New cat. Nothing like that. New cat smell.
Yeah, you were saying, what's their name again? Or his name? Seth, what is your cat's name again?
Burton.
Burton.
His name is Burton.
And Burton is part Maine Coon?
Yeah, named him Burton. Yeah, he's like half Maine Coon. He's going to be ginormous. We've had him for like a month. He's already like twice as big and more. Like, I'm just not even sure. This little guy is ridiculous. He's still adorably cute and tiny. He's still a kitten, but like he's almost the size of an immature cat, and like it's gonna be really hard to tell where the line is because like he is so big. He's going to be big. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying to me the other day, and then I saw Maggie post. Sorry, am I supposed to say her name?
No, that's fine. You can call her. Okay. You can out my wife.
Then Maggie posted to her TikTok earlier, and I checked it out, and It's getting so big so fast.
Yeah, and he's adorable. Oh my god.
Yeah,
He's just a pretty one. We're very sure that we want to get genetic testing, but we're very sure he's got to be part Maine Coon because all of his appearance, like he's even got these whiskers that Maine Coons seem to have. So normally domestic cats' whiskers kind of point up and out in weird directions and just sort of like, all in the same predictable directions, and his whiskers just sort of all point down in the same way. And they're kind of like frizzy, like, yeah, slightly frizzy or crimped looking. I don't know. They grew slow too.
Well, I'm just super happy for you guys. It's awesome. I'm glad you guys are, y'all and Burton are having a good time together. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It is a beautiful thing with a new cat in your life, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the adult stuff.
Yeah.
I believe we were talking about penises.
No, we were talking about Pokemon. But I know why you would get those two confused.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, I mean, it's psychological crap, and why does everything I look at look like a penis? Tell me, Freud. Why do I see penises everywhere? Dicks, they're all around. I don't get it.
He's a little sleepy boy.
He seems like a good one, for sure.
Little sleepy goose. Oh, so cute. All right,
Psychological mind hacks 101.
It's less horrific than the last one, so it's still terrible though. We're just gonna. I'm not gonna keep trying this again. We're moving on.
Yes, I believe we were talking about psychological mind hacks 101. Strategy number 1. Like, whenever you offer somebody peanuts and get a jar, make sure that you have a nice can of peanuts to do this. But whenever you offer peanuts, say penis instead, because I'm sure that they won't be able to hear the difference and assume that you said peanuts anyway. Because it's a great one.
See, you did it accidentally. That's how easy this trick is. And then you can go, haha, gotcha.
Or just don't even acknowledge it. Just leave them wondering what you actually said, if they notice it at all.
Supervillain shit right there.
Exactly.
If you're a supervillain, that's a great tip for you.
I actually thought of this the other day, and now I want to get like a fake jar of peanuts, but instead of snakes popping out, like a penis pops out, like full cock and balls, the whole schlong, the whole everything. It just pops out of the top of the can, but it doesn't fly out. It just just protrudes out. It just points at the person that you're offering to, and then
on one hand,
a crazy person.
On one hand, I'm upset, because I'm your friend and I have trust issues. But on the other hand, I'm not coming to Montreal soon, so.
Yeah. No, but the best part is that you can act like a total psycho or some kind of complete ridiculous, not a psycho. Well, forget that. Being a psycho isn't so great these days. I mean, it never was, but these days we have so much worse associations with that. So just a crazy person or a completely eclectic, let's say, an eclectic person, just like the penis pops out, but just act like you're used to that, and then you pop it off, and then there are peanuts underneath, and it's the regular jar. So just a regular can of peanuts. Yes, exactly. It's like, I forgot I had my cover, my air seal. Yeah, that's good. I remembered that. I thought I forgot that today. Just pop it off, and there are peanuts.
Hey,
I have
okay.
Other great age-appropriate ideas to market to the world. I hope people don't overlook me for my immaturity. Just don't want to be written off. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Yes, the internet is a bastion and a hallmark of maturity and scholaritude.
I too have never heard of Jake Paul.
I love the internet so much. It's easy to hate it, right? It's
definitely a love-hate kind of relationship,
I mean, we have to hate it as long as we're being, wise enough to see it for what it is. You got to hate the way it's sort of in the way and blinding everything, but that's another conversation. That really is another conversation.
Sure. Absolutely.
Anyways, but let's talk about Bowser first, if we could get back on track.
Well,
On
yeah,
topic.
absolutely, because I've just finished my 3 starters. I've got Charizard, War Turtle, and Venusaur all drawn up. Oh, I didn't finish Charizard's Flamey Tail, but I can do that later. It's fine.
Well, that's probably
So I'm
the
gonna.
glaring thing. Charizard's
Mhm.
Flame Tail is nowhere to be seen, and I think you really would expect it to be there on a Bowser. You know, assuming that
Got
Bowser
Flame
is.
Mouth.
But it doesn't have to be, right? You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
that Bowser has sometimes shot flames too, hasn't he? Like from his mouth, he does that, right?
shot what?
Shot flames from his mouth.
Yeah, absolutely, and even in Smash Brothers, it's like
Yeah,
one of his main moves.
it is. That's right. Okay, so I'm completely not crazy then. I mean, I am
Not at all.
crazy, but you know, for different reasons. By the way, I have to report back to the men in white coats like really soon after. Uh, so I think we just gotta make sure we're on time with all of our. I didn't say that. Anyway,
You can't cancel Seth. He's been there.
you can't cancel me. I'm nobody. I'm already nobody. I think it's sad that we only cancel people who are somebody though, because it's like if somebody's like completely unironically racist or something, it's like of course I am. What did you think? You can't cancel me. Like I'm for other people, not you. It's that kind of thing, right? Where it's like of course I'm a Nazi. I only have Nazi friends and fans, so you can't cancel me. And I mean, what's the point? What's the point when we're really just policing people who accidentally said things? Not that I oppose PC as like a legitimate thing, like as a way of protecting people who are actually hurt by language. It's
Right,
nothing
right.
like that. I'm so tired
No,
of the people like, I hate PC so much, and I'm so ironic and cool because everybody else agrees with me.
yeah, it's a pretty lame cop out. I think we're all on the same page there.
But anyway, Bowser. I mean, he's got everything going on. The turtle shell is like completely obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely part Blastoise. He's definitely got like a similar coloring as Venusaur. He's definitely got like flame breath and like dragon kind of appearance that I think kind of fits with all 3. And especially if you look at Smash Brothers and you put Bowser and Charizard on the same board, I mean their moves aren't like the same, but they do fight
got a
very
point, though.
similarly. They're a
They
heavier
move
character.
similarly.
They
They
both have fire breath. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe even like Venusaur is harder to see in it because it's like at most maybe the color green. He doesn't have any leaf moves, so
No, true.
that might be the hard sell.
I think the thing about Venusaur is that despite like its leafy appearance, it is also kind of like it has those elements of well, I guess what I mean is that there's at least in a couple of games, I'm kind of blanking on which ones, but you see Bowser get on all 4s. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So that's a lot more
and
like Venusaur then, because oddly enough, Venusaur is the only one who is permanently on 4s, like
I
for his
think
normal movement.
yeah, and there's so much
Ish. I
similarity
don't know.
between the original like main 3 starter Pokemon. There's so
Well,
much
they're just
similarity in the way that
evolutions.
their claws are, and the way that their kind of like all 3 of their heads have these kind of triangle points that kind of like
Yeah,
are kind of
they
similar to
all work.
Bowser's horns. They're
Yeah,
yeah,
and if
there's
you were
plenty
to,
of
if
similarity between any of them.
I also think that considering that Charizard's head is the most different between the 3 of them, that kind of explains the more elongated. It's not by much. It's subtle, but it's slightly more elongated than like Venusaur or Blastoise. Because if you put those together, their faces would more or less be the same. There'd be little change. They're not the same, but there'd be less changes. I mean, Blastoise has kind of a pug face. Like things are kind of smashed in there. Venusaur doesn't really have like much definition or depth. You know,
Mhm.
and like Charizard is the only one that has like a longer kind of like beak, the way like a dog's snout is like it has more of a snout.
Totally.
So, and Bowser has a little bit more going on, but not that much more than either Venusaur or Blastoise when you look at it. And of course, since this is a nerdy fan theory, let's just nitpick the crap out of this and make sure that we all know that this is clear and real, and these are reasons.
Thank
These are
you.
reasons,
No, I was
people.
gonna be really mad if you didn't.
Of course. I mean, we need good reasons. Like, even small nitpicky reasons are good reasons. If you don't have enough of those, it won't be accepted by people. It has to grab people, I guess.
I guess I don't really know
Like that
either.
way. That's kind of I found that to be the funniest part about nerds is like they think like all these details matter, and like you know they may not be like they might not have as much weight, but they're like if you look at all these things, they sort of add up. Like all of them matter.
Oh, I love nerd theory. Unironically, I mean it's part of what we do.
Well, nerd theories are great.
Yeah. No,
I
I'm
just want to keep playing.
well because
I want
it's
to
in a
keep playing
way
Nintendo Sandbox.
a Nintendo what?
I want to keep playing a Nintendo Sandbox.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it's like I was saying. There's all these great like licensed properties that essentially we're not really allowed to get too much into telling their story unless we're in the entertainment industry. But there's such fascinating characters. It kind of is a shame because if
Oh
you're
yeah,
allowed to let your creativity run wild with these things, we kind of allow ourselves to create some very interesting theories, just like you're doing today, or like,
yeah,
many people have done in the past, and kind of reanalyzing certain media and making it kind of translate to either it's more closely to its intended meaning, like how people have retranslated things like The Matrix or Fight Club and talked about the queer reading of those movies, and how that is more or less a much clearer and much more intentional reading of those films than most people thought when they were released. But you also have a
right.
lot of things like Super Mario World, where people have recontextualized that to something completely opposite than what was. It's hard to say if it was intentional or not, but the foresight it would require to really like Somewhere News did a really interesting video around about a year ago, maybe a little longer, but essentially talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie. And that movie is fascinating, if you
Oh.
recall. But ultimately, this was uh, a large part of it talking about how it's almost a critique. Like Bowser is potentially a critique of like literally Donald Trump. There's so many parallels that they find either
Well,
like
okay.
as fan theory or as actual credible evidence, both
Yes.
little here, little there, that kind of like helps confirm this theory. And it's one of the best fan theories I've ever heard put together, and also doubles as a critique of the media and a critique, a social political critique, maybe completely outside of the movie's intention, but still is very, very solid. So
Well, I'd have to know
there's a
more. I
lot.
don't know anything about that fan theory, but yeah, like I definitely agree that fan theories are great. They're a lot of fun when they're
Oh
just like,
yeah.
well, when you think about this means that, and this has to be explained by that. So, because like sometimes it's a great thing. Like I mean, when it's often that way, then it's more intentional because it's obvious that it's part of the original canon and the story, and it was just meant to be something for people to find, like an Easter egg, Like, and that's kind of the best ones where fans can go, oh, this means that, but at the same time, at that point, it's not really a fan theory because often you get it like very often the creators don't want to explicitly acknowledge the reality of it, but they're basically like, I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying it ain't.
Unless you're Paul Verhoeven and we're talking about RoboCop and Starship Troopers, in which case he was pretty much like, yeah, fuck cops, fuck fascists.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean those are the best. really.
Yeah,
And like kind of the same. We mentioned I had briefly touched on Skynet when we were talking about the theory, but like kind of the same with Terminator and like all that. Like that's more of technology though, but like at the same time, it's clear like when technology becomes like the policeman, that's game over for humankind for sure.
yeah, no, I mean, well, that's kind of the cool thing about, yeah, I mean, that's exactly, Verhoeven was definitely trying to say essentially that especially in RoboCop, that
When police
it's
become
a
overpowered,
corrupt system.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know when the last
there's a
time you
corrupt
watched it was, but
system.
it's
No, it's been so long since I've seen RoboCop, but I actually understand RoboCop better now as an adult that's read things talked about by fans than somebody that watched it as a child like once. So
sure.
like that is like I think I saw RoboCop like maybe most of it when I was like 5 or something, And I do remember like the drug addicted dude with the brain in the jar and his brain being smashed at the end, but like that's pretty much the takeaway for me. It was like, whoa, drugs bad, brain robot smashed. Got it. That was the takeaway for me as a child, for sure.
Understandable takeaway. But yeah, I mean, go back and watch RoboCop. It's one of the best.
I do
Yeah,
want. I've wanted to for years. I've been like putting a lot of things like that aside in a way because it's always like, yeah, but like none of the stuff I watched when I was a kid really holds up anymore for the most part. There are some goodies, but for sure that's but aside. All the
yeah,
same.
that I feel you there. It's a heartbreaker when you realize that something that you
Right.
really enjoyed as a child is really regressive politically at this point. Now that you've rewatched it and grown,
Well, actually, sometimes it's even worse than that because it's like as a child, you're when you watch it as an adult, you're just like that doesn't even make sense. But your child brain didn't even realize that it was so ridiculous. And I've got a great example about that. Like I went and tried to rewatch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and from episode 1, and I tell you, I couldn't even get through the first 3 minutes because the very first thing that happens is so absurd and ludicrous that, like, even as a child, you got to wonder why you didn't question it. Like
hmm
basically, April and her camera crew, are like putting their stuff away after covering a news story, which is a great introduction for April. You get to know like that whole side of her immediately. You know that she's a reporter and everything makes sense. But they are suddenly surrounded by the Foot Clan, like 100% surrounded by the Foot Clan, or at least they come. Well, actually, they come from one corner because otherwise this doesn't make sense. But basically, like the camera crew gets scared witless, and they basically just drop their shit they were loading into the van and like fucking flee. They just flee the entire scene and abandon April to get like beat up and raped and anything that could possibly happen. Sorry
Oh,
for content. A trigger warning there. That's basically like anything that could happen to her by the Foot Clan. She's left completely defenseless and alone, and like she basically like immediately locks herself in the back of the van and like stuff like that. But the thing that didn't make sense is like you see the Foot Clan and you're loading up a van, you don't like just run. You get in the van and you drive away. That's your best escape. Instead, they
yes.
abandon a defenseless person, do something completely unethical, and try to escape on foot. You know, Enemies that outnumber them by several score, like or at least by 5. Like 5 times as many Foot Clan as there were like the 4 of them, right?
Right.
And then and like you got to think like masked ninjas probably can catch up to you on foot. you know your best bet is to get in the van and sure, drop everything, but they literally dropped tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and abandoned somebody, and they basically have decided to get fired you know like, and you got
Exactly.
to ask somebody, didn't you getting in the van and driving away was a better idea? Shit, I don't know, boss. Like, I just was scared and just had to run away.
Yeah, and if you
And it just
remember, the
makes
boss on that show is a real asshole.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, like, you wouldn't
But
want to piss that guy off because he will definitely fire you for nothing, and then be like, "Well, you stole. I'm calling the cops," even though you didn't.
well, of course. I mean, like he's your typical J. Jonah Jameson, and so I mean,
Right.
that's what's gonna happen. But it still boggles the mind to think like they literally abandoned tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, including an entire news van with like the whole like antenna on top for like broadcasting their signal to the station. You know, like they
Mhm.
literally abandoned like really valuable stuff and their best means of escape, which is the critical part. That's like I can't even swallow that.
Yeah.
And that just made
No,
me so sad immediately.
I definitely feel you. Yeah, it's been a
Like,
while. I have like the first 8 tapes of the original animated series, and you know, it definitely. I feel you. Most shows of that era don't necessarily hold up as well. You know, they're like
well, they had a brain with arms and eyes and mouth that for some reason controls like a humanoid bot to get around. So I guess you kind of have to. You kind
yeah,
of
it
have to
requires
like
some suspension of
suspend
disbelief.
disbelief a little bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I
Sometimes
do love
it's a
a
little
lot of
too
those
hard though.
elements, but yeah, it's not necessarily like it's not a show you would be like, you know, you should rewatch because it holds up over time. The comic books are actually all right. I think
Especially
probably.
the animation, am I right?
Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, you're right. I mean,
Especially the animation. I mean, that's still gold as ever.
thank you. Yeah, we don't want to forget that part. You know. Um, damn, I'm actually really liking Bowser.
I
He's
can't
got
wait
an
to see that.
interesting.
Once the show is over, I'll be able to look at all of this.
We appreciate you for it.
Oh, I mean, all
So
of
I
this
was
has
gonna
been fun
ask.
so far.
So we still got a little over an hour left. I think we got through a fair portion of your theory. So I was gonna ask more about
When you say,
Silphco.
oh, okay, sure. What about it
Um,
though?
so remind me again how Silphco's involved in all this.
Well, Silphco is the company that's owned by Bill, and it's unless I have that detail wrong. No, I think I might have that detail wrong. I can't remember exactly the detail. I just remember he was responsible for giving the main character the Sylph scope in the video game, wasn't he? Or do I have that wrong? Can't
Oh,
remember.
buddy, I'll trust your memory over mine.
I'm not.
um,
I'm actually not sure because I do remember looking at my research just before we did this, and I might have that wrong. So
well, I'm sure people will fact check us in the comments on YouTube or in chat.
hang
But
on a
either
minute. I
way,
think Bill was responsible.
it. Sorry.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, we'll get corrected if there's corrections to be had. I'm sure. I'm not worried about that. That's for damn sure. The internet is a place where people like to correct people.
None of it makes sense anymore.
Yeah. You're destroying my continuity.
What a dork!
That's not canon. I like to
Why don't
say
you suck
often.
my dork?
Huh?
Why don't you suck my dork?
Yeah.
It's huge like a whale dork.
Oh wow, you really got me with that one. Well, that's what they call a whale's willy. Oh my gosh,
It
cut
is
me
what
so deep.
that's really what it is. It's like, but at the same time, you gotta admire the fact that you're basically calling them a giant penis.
Yeah, no, I mean I try and make sure that's
It's
clear
almost sad
anytime I
that
use
dork
dork as an
didn't
insult.
make it. It's almost
Who?
sad that dork didn't make it. We're dork,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
What I mean, like it didn't carry over. It didn't hold up like other things did, and get brought with it, you know, and carried over into modern speech and insults. But I guess it sounds childish. It's like, oh darn it, darn you,
No way, I use
dork.
dork all the time. Like
Oh
Elon
yeah,
Musk is a dork.
dork works a
Jordan
lot,
Peterson,
but you know,
absolute dork. Ben
oh, he's a
Shapiro,
huge dork.
dork.
Absolute dorks,
Yeah. See,
complete dorks.
because it's not like we're saying that um like people who have nerdy interests are all dorks. I think there's great levels of distinction between nerds and dorks and geeks, and I think even contextual
Well, now we're getting to
differences
the
between all of these words. And
we're getting
I
into
think
the shades of meaning of semantics, though.
no, I get that. I just think we understand these words by context is what I'm getting at. And when you call
Yeah.
someone a dork, you're rarely putting it in a positive context. And
Huge dork. Well, it's never
usually,
positive.
yeah,
Pretty well.
usually, well, yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anyone use it in a positive. But either way, it's I think very useful when talking about people who are uh, you know,
It's also kind of
uncool.
magnificent.
You know,
Oh, absolutely.
swagless
Absolutely.
goobers with no taste and bad takes.
Yes, the absolute bad taste is true. Unironically bad taste. Unironically bad taste with unironically bad takes.
Damn, we're spitting fire right now.
We're really spitting the fire, man. We're so cool. Everybody agrees with us, I'm sure.
Oh
I bet
boy,
everybody agrees with me. I'm gonna be like so famous when this is done.
you
Thanks
like
for
me yet?
bringing me.
Do you like
Please
us?
like, please like us, please. I just want to be liked and thought of as cool.
I have no value outside of my own head.
Starting to feel like things are bottoming out and we're losing our energy a little bit, but you know.
Wow, hold out.
I promise we're still interesting. I promise we're still interesting. Please keep
No,
it.
I'm having a great time. I genuinely do this.
This is fun for sure.
Yeah.
This is my jam right here, for sure. 100%. I'd like to carry the energy of a scientist who's really worked up about something that you really need to focus on.
You were telling me something about Silphco before we got distracted, though.
Oh, okay. Well, Silphco is responsible for the Sylph Scope. That much we do know. I mean, there's no denying that. But
Okay.
I can't remember. I thought it was responsible for the transfer system, but like I honestly don't remember the way that worked. And I thought that was Bill's whole deal, but I can't really tell you.
So let's pretend like it
I don't
fully
know as
is
much
and
as
we're
I
not
pretend
wrong.
to.
Because it
Well,
doesn't matter
at
and
that
I don't
point-
care.
Well, the thing is that Silphco really isn't that important. It's just sort of it's just a scene, you know. It's the scene in which it takes place. You know, this whole controversy, this whole like, you know, come on guys, let's be like the gang Scooby Doo and break into the lab.
Okay. So remind me. Does Giovanni play any part of this? Because I know he was like the big bad of the original Pokemons, and I feel like
connected. Well, he was also connected to the Silphscope thing because like there was like that was the gym there, I think, and that was when they were when they went into the tower and they needed the Silphscope in order to see like ghost Pokemon, and you can't see them without it. Once you have it, it basically sits in your backpack, but you basically can see them then. I don't know why.
Yeah. So I was thinking, you know who else looks really similar, especially their sprites, is Ness. I don't know if you've ever played Earthbound.
Oh yeah, no, I have not, but I've played Smash Brothers, so I have enough familiarity with the character to agree with that.
Totally. Okay.
But I didn't play
so, yeah.
I haven't actually seen the sprites though, because like I didn't play any games with sprites.
I can tell you with authority because I have played both recently. Well, Mother 1 and Earthbound that have been released on the virtual consoles on the Switch. So I've played both recently, and yeah, it's kind of an uncanny similarity between the Ash and your Pokemon avatar and your Earthbound or Mother avatar.
Well, okay.
The similarities between
I would
them
like to think somehow they're all connected, but
well, I definitely think that following your same line of logic, not only are they creating new Mario games, but they're having to get really creative to keep coming up with ways to deceive our main.
there's entirely nothing wrong with that at all, because I mean, like any time you could just extend it all and say that, and this is very much in keeping with me wanting it to be a Nintendo fan theory. You could just say the whole Nintendo universe is been created by Porygon in the mainframe of the Pokemon storage system, and that like
Reading my
everything
mind
has come
here.
out of that. Yeah, it's completely Inception here, and like why not, right? Because like yeah, Ness could be Ash in another universe. They just keep creating new universes, and everything just keeps branching outwards and onwards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Infinite.
Right in. Oh wait, yeah, we can't DMCA. Anyway, uh,
I feel like
I got
I
close.
feel like I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson against that starry background in a meme whose name would probably be inappropriate to mention here, but that nonetheless, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I just imagine he's got this raging hard on, like I'm so smart, like I'm so impressed with myself. Oh, just like that stellar, like like the I forget, was it cosmic brain, like the cyber
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. I totally, yeah.
wasn't it called, yeah, galaxy brain, that was it, yeah, the galaxy brain meme or whatever, just totally
hmm
galaxy brained on that.
Oh
You guys,
man,
we are so five brained and important. I'm pretty sure we're all gonna get like contracts and deals out of this. It's gonna be so
yeah.
cool.
I'm still waiting for Ron Howard to call me and tell me he thinks I'm handsome.
I love Ron Howard. I actually love. Oh my god, this is another fun one. Did you know that Clint Howard was in Star Trek? His brother.
Uh, I feel like I mean, I watched all of the original Star Trek a long, long time
Yeah, the
ago.
original. It is the original series. Yeah.
It would make so much sense because TV in the
But the
'60s
best
was
part is, yeah.
yeah,
But the best part is that Clint Howard was like 5, and he like it's just hilarious because like the whole thing is like this scary. I think it was the Tholian Web episode, but like there's like this scary like alien that talks to them, and then at the end like they managed to solve like it was actually a test, like, and they solved like what was basically like a Rubik's cube test kind of a thing. And, like, but they were supposed to engage with like his starship, but avoid actually creating an outright conflict, and like he basically was telling them that they couldn't go into his zone of space, and if they did, like he would like completely blow them away with like a doomsday device that's stronger than anything else in the universe, and like basically like hands off, do not touch. And like they basically like we're kind of already there, and we would have to like continue crossing in order to obey your request, kind of a thing. So they have to like do all like this dance and like answer these questions and like do like the most peak expert diplomacy in order to not piss off this alien and get completely nuked and annihilated into oblivion. And then by the end, like he invites them onto his ship, and he's like, "You passed the test," and he turns out to be this like tiny little like Munchkin type alien, and it's Howard.
love it.
It's amazing.
Is it better than his appearance in Rock and Roll High School?
Oh no, I don't know. That's hard to judge. Rock and Roll High School was fantastic, and I love that character.
It's a classic.
It
Certainly
really
a
is.
classic.
Penelope Spheris, am I right? Oh my god.
No, I don't believe it was. But it was a Roger
It wasn't.
Corman production.
Are you
No,
sure?
I'm almost positive. I could be wrong. It's been a really long time since I watched it, but I don't remember her name in the opening crawl. She would have been someone that wouldn't have been unusual for them to have tapped for it, though. So it's definitely not one of those that I've logged away. So you could be 100% on this. And I'm
And
just
I
being a
had that.
goofball.
Anyway, that's not important.
The Bowser sprite might be as confusing as the Charizard sprite. I just realized he doesn't really have arms in the original sprite. He's just got these weird
Interesting.
round balls.
That's
I should
weird.
I should
But I
clarify.
mean,
Balls
it
for
would have
arms.
had to have been very basic. Everything is stripped down. That's part of the reason why Ness's sprite probably looks a lot like Ash. I mean, like the sprites are. It's very hard to make them look different. Ash's sprite, like when he's moving around town and stuff, is like so nondescript. It's like barely distinguishable from Mario, and they barely managed to put like a pixel mustache on the guy, right?
Right.
because like you really don't have that much detail with pixels at that scale.
Oh, totally. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do it and not make it look horrible.
We are through the looking glass, people.
Proving to be a little bit difficult. More difficult than I thought this would be. I really like the original Bowser sprite, but I kind of realized just now that those arms are just very strange shaped orbs. So I'm doing a little bit of calculation to figure out how to make this not look terrible. And that's yeah, that's a big one for where I'm
Sam
at
just said
too.
the foot issue is confusing with the Bowser sprite.
Yeah, and if you're watching, you know exactly what Sam is talking about because it is. Yeah, let me look at this
She just
without
said he has one big foot.
Yeah, so I tried to make it distinct. I think I pulled it off, but maybe not. Um, I think I might need to make the ones in the foreground the claws in the foreground a bit bigger if I'm going to make that play the way I want it to. I think that's the big issue.
You know, the thing with
Maybe
the
not.
entire world,
Mm-hmm.
the entire world in the Mario world is like, if you, it's really hard to say that none of it could be based on the Pokemon world. You know, I mean, like the turtles, the Koopas, the mushrooms, the, you know, like everything. You know,
Absolutely.
like even the tubing and the pipes is like, you know, just like it's clearly in the at least grounded in this fan theory. It's just an extension of like the Pokemon storage system and its transfer system. You know?
Yeah. No,
I really do
absolutely.
think that. Yeah.
Well, because
I
I
really do
love.
think that makes
Sorry,
sense.
go ahead.
No, what do you love? Go on.
No. I was filling space. You go.
Oh, okay. Oh shit! I didn't have anything. You called my bluff. No, but like all of it makes sense. I love the idea of Porygon being like an agent in the whole thing, like as, you know, conscious AI. It is conscious AI when you think about it. And like I also just love the idea that it either accidentally or purposefully creates like the glitch that results in all of the seizures in Japan. Just love that. Cuz that's almost Godzilla level, you know? It's like some monster that's invading your world and fucking it up a little bit or a lot, depending on which one.
Well, I like how it creates this narrative that crosses out of the fantasy world and into our world. I think that's an interesting angle. I wouldn't have taken it in.
And it's like it makes
To
sense
its
too
benefit.
because it's like why not? It's why not, you know? Like
Absolutely.
if because it almost is like when you first are told that Polygon is just software, it's just programming, and like we've even developed code that replicates itself, which it kind of adds up relative to our world too. The way that, you know, everything is sort of a calc, you know, of that world, a representation of our world in simpler terms and in fantastical ways, fantastical terms, you know. So
Sure.
I think the idea of that you have this AI within it that's, you know, it's already extending into a different space, and it's like it almost connects to our world between cyberspace, if you want to look at it that way, you know.
Hmm.
But that's just doing the best that we can to try to make it make sense beyond any kind of sensical meaning.
Well, no, I think it does make a lot of sense. I like the idea that like it's something that we see over and over again as tropes in media. You look at my favorite example is the 1987 live action Masters of the Universe film
Oh
that
God.
yeah, where He-Man and Teela and Man-at-Arms and the
Yeah,
are and
that's going
Gwildor,
way back.
played by the legend Billy Barty, um, all come into our world and are encounter a couple of normal earthly humans in somewhere, Los Angeles. I don't know where that movie is actually supposed to be located. Either way, it was shot in LA or somewhere around LA, and it's one of those things where it's like, here's these fantasy characters essentially entering our world and interacting with it, and there's some goofs like, one of my favorite lines in the movie, Gwildor steals some food from these people who are making out in a convertible, and so Tila and Man-at-Arms kind of see him from like across the parking lot and go and approach him and are like, Gwildor, and he's like, I was going to share, and hands them some food, and Tila eats it, and she's like, what? Why do they put the meat, or why do they put the food on these little white sticks? And Man-at-Arms replies, those are rib bones. And Tila looks disgusted and just says, what a barbaric planet. I can't, yeah, so there's like little moments like that where their world is obviously different from ours and they're drawing attention to it in one way or the other. In this case, signaling that, we would never eat animals in Eternia.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting, and it is good too. That's just good storytelling.
Totally.
Make people like go, whoa, that is, who knew? Far into there. Usually though, when that happens, it's like something more than just like a cultural aspect, because like, cultures on our own planet can go that way too. It's like not something so fantastical or beyond, or that just it is so improbable, right? Like, but I just find it more interesting when it is like more improbable. Like, whoa, you guys don't even like exist in meat space on your planet.
Totally.
Yeah, there are more people that communicate, more species that communicate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Sam brings up that, there would be all kinds of different species in Eternia that would be communicating with our heroes of Eternia. Whereas in our world, most of our like verbal communication, especially, happens between just human creatures. There's some obvious like research that's been done into hand signs and sign language being taught to certain chimps and apes, but very fairly limited ability to communicate as opposed to what we experience in our world. Oh no, okay, I hate these claws. Let's try that again.
Well, this is a good time. I'd also like to bring up Superman, because like it's hilarious to me to look back. I think everybody probably already realizes that, but Superman has just been such a staple of our enjoyment of superheroes and comics since generations ago already. So like I think at the time was obviously like nobody thought it was ridiculous, and it just sort of like carried over enough that people were just like, yeah man, Superman's so cool, I don't even question the fact that it's like somebody just made up a superhero when they were asked how cool their hero is, and they're just, my superhero is so cool. Oh, you don't even know. Like, well, tell me about your superhero. Like, what does he got? Like, he's Superman. Yeah. In fact, that's his name. So cool, am I right? like, well, what does he do? He can fly. Like, well, that sounds kind of like with the territory, but tell me more. It's because of the sun. Yeah, that's cool. Oh man, like, is that all? Like, he shoots heat ray vision from his eyes, and he can see under women's clothing. So basically, what we got is like he's a superhero, but he's the first one, so just accept that he's cool, all right? I mean, he's like incredibly handsome, attractive, loved by everyone, but in his secret identity or not, he's a very normal guy. But I mean, like, is he still huge and stuff? Oh yeah, of course. Like, but he wears glasses, so nobody knows what he looks like. Like, he's just so understated, though. He's got really understated personality. You don't even know. Just the coolest guy. Like, well, I mean, like, why is he here though? I mean, like, why is that like? Well, he's from another planet. That's why, like, the sun gives him powers. It's like, well, is their planet interesting? And like, yeah, like, is it different? It's so different. Like, it's a cube.
you know, I definitely like. I'm more charitable to Superman than I would have been in the past, just because I know more of its
Like the
intention.
creation story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the intention behind
like
Superman's really really cool, but it's definitely become a character that's just like it's. I think when you're in a conversation where it's like, would Goku or Superman win in a fight, and
true.
you're like, no, here's the de facto answer is that of course Superman would win because Superman's never really lost, not in any significant way. And sure, that's even saying that he's died, he's been taken over by evil beings, and all of that stuff. But Superman, as an iconic figure, doesn't change. Like, if you
That's true.
ask any number of people on the street about Superman, they're going to tell you about how he's just and upright and can see through women's clothes. But they're not going to say, well, there was the one arc where, he was a bad guy, and him and Superman, or him and Batman, or him and Flash, they're not going to talk
True.
about, remember that one time when Frank Miller wrote the most fascist Batman ever that existed? Or things like that, you know? Yeah. Oh man, I'm talking, of course, about the Dark Knight, but there's also Red Sun, which I'm pretty sure was Mark Millar's attempt at anti-Soviet Union propaganda, which I'm sure makes you very happy, Seth.
Is what it is.
No, have you ever heard of this Red Sun?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I know about that stuff, and I know about the Man of Steel as like, when I think that's what you were referring to when you said like he became a bad guy like in the first place. He like basically defects to the Soviet Union, right?
Well, no. There's essentially what is like a what if that I mean, you could be right as well, but I know that there was this.
I'm not sure though. I really
Mark
don't. I
Millar
would
wrote
be much
this.
less of an authority.
Mark Millar wrote this limited series for DC at least a couple of decades ago, where Superman, instead of landing on Earth, landed in the Soviet Union.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what it was. I
But there's
think so.
also been there's also been arcs where Superman becomes corrupt. I mean, multiple
And
arcs where
that's sort of like
Superman
an
becomes
alternate
corrupt.
universe kind of a thing. Yeah.
Right, right. Um, so yeah, but that all that to say that there's just so many different ways that you could go with that character, and that it's kind of always been frustrating for me as a fan of comic books that Superman's one of these characters that seems to have no real weakness, and they kind of just have to write in MacGuffins to make that make any conflict
I
happen
see
into
one
the
of the ropes
story.
like, oh, but he's got a weakness. It's called kryptonite.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this
They
thing.
exactly. It's just kryptonite, and it's not like it's a MacGuffin, It's
What is
it's
it?
meant.
Yeah, it is.
It,
It is.
yeah,
But it's like,
it's
what
only
is
the
it though?
right. Yeah,
It only
it's the
exists to
same.
serve the plot. Yeah.
Yeah, Watonium. It's what's the Star Trek version of it? It's
Oh, like the antimatter. Is that like
yeah,
with like
they're
the?
made up
I think
particle kind of
so.
stuff. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Anti-particle, antimatter, matter, accelerate.
but sometimes you have to recognize a MacGuffin where you see it. Um,
Oh yeah,
I
for sure.
think yeah,
It's like it has no. It only serves the plot. Doesn't have any like sensible details to itself at all. It's just like this. They have it because they have thing
yeah. I mean,
magical
yeah.
X unobtainium.
Unobtainium. That was another one I was looking for earlier. Yes,
Yeah, that
Unobtainium.
was the one.
That's one of my favorites. All right.
Why are
Well,
they
we
making
have
another one of those?
another one of what?
Why are they making another one of those movies like the Avatar shit? I don't know. Like, please
Oh,
don't.
you
Please
know,
stop Hollywood. Fuck
yeah,
Hollywood.
I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm also not like I'm not an active anti-Avatar person. I didn't think the story was terrible. That's mostly because I liked.
It had the wow factor, I guess.
No, I didn't care about any of that. I thought, I just liked, even if it was pretty lib, it had a decent message, and we don't really get a lot of messaging that isn't atrocious in this country. So I take it where I can get it, even if James Cameron just has
You
like the most
know,
baseline. We shouldn't destroy a planet we live on kind of take. I'll take it.
You know what though? For my money, Fern Gully was like the better version of that, though. It was the same idea, just way better. Like, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I don't
Sure,
disagree at all.
the animation probably doesn't hold up, but like, it's like the same thing but better.
Sure, but definitely for a
Because
different
like at that
age, a
point, at
different
least it's
era.
for
I mean,
kids. But
and
that's
to your
why.
point, it wasn't necessarily the like at the time where Avatar came out, Ferngully was severely dated aesthetically. Creating
Yeah, that's
something
true.
that younger people can get into that has virtually the same message, but with refinement. Even if some of that refinement was pretty problematic, I can appreciate it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
definitely had, and it had some amount of kind of anti-colonial statements, although that was
Oh
definitely
yeah.
not the point of
Because I
it.
mean, so did Fern Gully. It totally did
Exactly.
too.
Absolutely did. Absolutely did. But in
And then it
yeah,
also hit on the industrial side of things too. And I mean, all of the same things really exist. Like all the same themes are there.
absolutely, yeah. Um,
I just
yeah, they're
think it
just
holds up
important
better
themes
because
we
it
don't
was
get to
meant for
see very
kids. It was the
often.
target audience. It was kind of
Huh?
silly because Avatar came out. It was pretty silly because Avatar came out, and you have like all these kids that committed suicide, right? They're just like, that's so depressing. I totally wouldn't have seen the reality in front of
What?
me, even though it's completely obvious.
Did that happen?
There were some people that committed suicide when they saw Avatar because they're just like, oh my god, our world is dying and we can't stop it.
Um, what? All right, I'm gonna look into that
Yeah.
because I've never heard that in my life. Uh,
I'm not gonna say it like I have reputable sources, but like I heard about this. Like there was talk about this. Like this is entirely hearsay. I'll be open about that. But like, if I remember they being discussed like in various sources and between people that there were some people that committed suicide because the message of Avatar was like so heavy.
that that sounds completely unbelievable. But I have to
I
look
agree
into
with you.
that. It
It
sounds
sounds really
insane.
dumb. Like James Cameron makes a really bad. I can understand wanting to commit suicide when James Cameron makes a really bad movie, but I don't act on it.
Oh, I don't know. Are we allowed to say the S word?
Oh no, I hope I didn't do anything bad. In
Yeah.
context, obviously, uh, I could say worse things on that topic, but let's try to get away from that maybe.
No, yeah. I think self harm will work as a stand-in if you want to keep talking about it.
No. Anyway, like I'll just stop it here and say that Fern Gully is better. And Fern Gully was like everybody obviously forgot about that and didn't think it was sad at the time. Had the same implications. Wow, we're really verging on dead air here. This is not good.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I got super distracted. I'm terrible at text, so I tend to focus more on it than other things. Um, I,
Nah.
as far as the Ferngully Avatar thing, I think, yeah, I basically said it already. But it doesn't matter how many movies like it had been made. It was a movie that I'm glad was made because a lot of better
Yeah.
movies in a similar genre with a similar vibe with similar messaging, but evolved,
I'm not
are
saying
going to
it was
happen
the
as a
wrong
consequence.
I'm not saying that telling stories like it is the wrong move. I'm just saying, yeah, like I mean totally it should still be done because I mean obviously Fergully is has been forgotten, Like only people in our generation are just like, "Oh yeah, I do remember that movie." And that's about it.
Right.
Sure nobody remembers that movie. Sam just said like she could watch all of Ferngully and she fell asleep in the first 10 minutes of Avatar. And I think that's entirely a valid point to our side. And it appears to be 2-1, Weston. So take the loss.
Oh, I don't debate. It's for stupid people. I'm too smart for that.
But I want to debate all the things. Let's do it.
It's for real. It's for real goobers, man. I don't know. I just, I don't think, yeah, because ultimately, it's my.
No, you're right. Debating things is stupid. It's true.
It's cringe, bro.
I don't even understand people. Like, it really is. It's no longer. It really has. Thank God, it's finally made it to that point of being accepted as that. Because there was like an iffy in between period when like all the neckbeards popped up and we're just like, we're winning all the debates, and like I think that's what finally tipped the scales.
I mean, if you need any, yeah, you need no better example than Destiny on why being a debater on the internet is one of the most cringe things you can be.
That's true. I mean, like the people that, and the worst part is, I think the absolute bottom of that barrel is like all of the people that want to debate like the movies that haven't even been released yet. I'm like,
totally.
It's not even a good.
I've been encountering a lot of that lately because of the Willow podcast we do. I mean, some of the bad faith takes about a show that doesn't even exist yet are astounding. Like, I mean, I was trying to find, like, the other day I was going through, like, other people's Willow content to see what other people are doing. I like to stay informed, and I like some of the takes that I've seen. But everything I found on YouTube this day was, like, all of these regressive right-wing dorks just, like, complaining that there were women that might be lesbians in the show. And I just wanted to, like, piss in their Cheerios, man. I don't know. I don't have, like... I hope they have a bad day perpetually. Yeah, damn right. Yes, Sam has made an excellent point that if we looked at those dudes' Pornhub histories, we would find a very different opinion about lesbians in there than opposed to their YouTube channel.
Don't you know that political opinions are different? Morally, it's different. And I think that as myself, if I'm being Jordan Peterson for a minute here, I think that morally there's a lot you could say about that and that it needs to be said. But I think that you need to listen to me ramble on about it for 3 hours first before you can make an informed opinion.
Yeah, and only me. You can't listen to anyone else about this because they are wrong.
You're getting wrong information.
Oh my god.
It's all tainted and bad.
So actually, so I wanted to just check in real quick and see if you had more you wanted to go over with this theory, or if I could talk a little bit about Santa Rosa punk shit.
Well, sure. If you want to move on to that, I just want to say really fast first, though.
Oh, please.
Yes. Because related to that, fuck. I think I lost my train of thought and I'm killing the air. Fuck me. Sorry, I said too many F words. F bombs. No, I mean that's all. Yeah.
You're all good, brother.
Wait. Just to remind me really quick what we were just talking about. There was like the. Boy,
you were roasting Jordan Peterson for a second there.
And yes, no, I want to sorry. Related to like all of the neckbeard people, I just think that all of the ones that are doing that, like what you were just talking about with people who are like already criticizing and bashing shows that haven't even been made yet, like literally their entire existence to me appears to be like they're practically like Jehovah's Witnesses of their own kind. Like, please know that I exist and know that my takes are really bad. Just like outing themselves, they're people that just want to tell on themselves so bad that just like, please know that my opinions suck right now.
Please know that I am a joke in every facet of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a perpetually uncool dork. Expect nothing less.
Have you heard the good news? I just want. Can I tell you a minute about my own personal Lord and Savior, which is myself, because I am that narcissistic and egotistical, and I think my opinions are so great and the best, but they suck. Just know that. Please know that I'm alive. Please. Because if you don't, no one else will. And I'm like so alone and alienated by my own actions at this point that I might actually commit suicide, but I'm too much of a chicken shit to do that. So please, no, please. It's like the worst kind of desperation, right?
Yeah, I think it's suspect of anyone to think that a man that almost died by drinking apple cider vinegar is your masculine hero. I think I am more masculine than that man, and I am an NB that says, yeah.
You're also short and not much of it, and I'm really huge, but like I'm not masculine in the least. Almost, I smell more masculine than I am in my brain.
Thank you. You have outed yourself as a stinky, and now we don't have to pay attention to your opinion.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, it's the same as all the other dorks.
Right. Yeah. But yes, okay, so I wanted to talk about Santa Rosa punk music.
Yeah, sure.
Seth, can you tell us about your old band?
All right, I'll talk about that a little bit. The Scurvs is what we called ourselves, and that was just because Tony's brother started out by calling me Scurvs, like, and it was like he called his dogs that too, but like that was like that was kind of his like little catch-all, like you guys, you scurvy little punk kids is what he would say, and because like we were like so like raggedy and stupid and like gross and pot-headed, and so we just like we were struggling with having a band name, and at one point they settled on Paroxysm when I wasn't around for that band meeting, and I found out, and then, after a few like band practices, I was like, guys, like I think we could do a little better than Paroxysm, and like we threw around a few things, and like, well, I think that Paroxysm is still the best one so far. I'm like, well, why don't we just call ourselves the Scurvs? And then like Tony thought about it for a second, because like he knew exactly where that was coming from his, it came from his house basically. And like, he's like, you're right. That's a great one, and it basically says who we are, and it also has a little bit of an origin story to it. It's like, and we love that, and like, there's not a lot to say about the Scurvs itself, though. I mean, that whole punk scene was a little bit weird and small, and it also very quickly imploded. And I think most people involved, like, basically, like, took their drug addictions somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's not even just the people in the bands. The people running the venues were a mess. I hope all of them are doing much better now, but there was it was a messy punk scene. I mean, I've talked about it on the program before that when I first moved to Sonoma County, my experience with the punk scene was getting called homophobic slurs by people, and no one standing up to defend people who were or stand up to the people who were getting called homophobic slurs. So
stupid.
It was unbelievable to me because I came from a really conservative area where punks kind of had to stick together to survive, and this area seemed so much more.
Doing that or having any of it because like anybody who wasn't like part of the scene was the one doing that to them. So it was a way of outing yourself.
Right. So it was like it was a weird scene, and you know what what really saved my opinion of it was my friends in the Scurvs, especially Seth. I met Seth. I met Seth while I was working at a Blockbuster Video, and I walk into a Valero gas station, and here's this person with
in the same square, yeah.
Yeah, in the same shopping center. Here's this guy with a Subculture T-shirt on, and Subculture was a store you could buy like punk memorabilia or get tattoos, and
it was owned by the lead singer of the band Resilience.
Yes, who is actually they're still playing if you look for it. At least last time I checked. But yeah,
I'm sure that he's. I'm pretty sure it's got to be like Rancid, where like Lars is the only guy that's still doing it. It's because it makes money for him and nobody else, and like the other guys, they're just paid loser musicians. And I've seen the guitarist change from that band so many times, and like be like, who is that guy? Because like usually there was the the same kind of punk, but one time it was like a goth dude with like an Ibanez like shredder type guitar, and that was like really not the type of guitar that the guitarist in his band usually used. And it was like, who are you? Are you in the
What
right
is this?
place?
What is this? Yeah,
That was
no,
like one show.
exactly. Well, in I walk to this Valero station, and this kid just behind the counter just says something like something
Basically,
about
like a
the
capitalism sucks
proletarian.
kind of a.
Yeah, join the proletarian revolution kind of statement, and I was just like, who the fuck are you? Immediately was just like wanted to know more about who this person was and what their vibe was, and we chatted it up a little bit. We started hanging out occasionally on
Too dope.
breaks and things like that, and I got to know Seth pretty
Whenever you
quickly.
needed
And
to buy
then,
cigarettes, yeah, and like I
yeah,
remember one of the things that I love and one of my biggest regrets was like the first time like that like I knew that we were actually going to like be friends and not just like acquaintances. Like you left a note at the gas station asking me if I wanted to go see a punk show at Gilman, and I don't remember what the show was, but like it was the band was definitely an interesting draw, but it wasn't one that I listened to that much. I think I don't remember
it
what
would have
if you
been
do.
behind enemy lines. I'm pretty sure.
What?
It was either behind enemy lines and like an anarcho-punk like
Yeah,
show bill, or it was Scarp and Votsick and like more of a thrash and grindcore bill.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. And like, I'm so sad that I didn't take you up on it. And we didn't do it, but I think time it was just because of like the fact that I had a long distance girlfriend and everything, who's now my wife, and that's kind of like was my difficulty in having a better social life at the time. But I don't blame my wife. It was just like it was because of our circumstances. So spending time with your girlfriend on the phone all the time when you could be having a life. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of a decision you might regret later, but what we
Well,
ended up.
y'all are the cutest couple, and in my estimation, the cutest couple I've always known. And you guys have been together for years now, so I think it's safe to say you probably made the right decision.
Oh no, I definitely did. I mean, here I am, and
Yeah.
I've been in Montreal for nearly 10 years, and I lived in Montreal for 2 years for a stint before that, and so I've spent a lot of time. I've been visiting and living in Montreal off and on ever since 2006. So it's been more than 15 years at this point, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
I've also been with my wife for more than half my life now.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, no, and it's unusual
We
as
always
hell.
used to.
Like, and
I mean, we thought it was wild that Seth's always going off to talk to his girlfriend on the phone, and but like
I do
we couldn't
somewhat
have known.
regret it for reasons that I'm not comfortable with expressing here. And that should be obvious,
Oh,
just in that
fair.
that's self-explanatory. Like, I do
Yeah.
kind of regret not having more boundaries and like not trying to have more time with my friends, because it wasn't going to be for very long. And I have not lived in Santa Rosa for very long since. I mean, like I didn't, and I think there was like maybe like we met in 2006, right? Like that was like right about that time, and then
Yep.
the Scurvs first happened soon after
Hmm.
that we met, and like when like we were still like new friends, very new friends when the Scurvs first show happened. One of my fondest memories is us doing that show and then hanging out with I can't
Oh,
remember
don't
who
say
the
their names. I think they prefer their privacy at this point.
yeah, no, I mean I don't even remember their names at this point.
Okay,
There's
good.
just
But yeah,
there was one other person. There was one other person. I just remember like we decided to go driving around places like and trying to go to parties with people that you and this person knew. And like basically like we went to one party that was already like getting broken up, and I remember there was like strawberry wine, which was kind of a weird thing. And like we just drove around all these weird places, like backroads places, like, and I was like, okay, whatever. And you were like jamming the White Album the entire time on loop, and like I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, it did get a little tiring, but I love the Beatles, so whatever. That
does
was
sound
kind of
like
fun.
me at the time. Because
Yeah,
I had never really listened to the Beatles as a kid. That was not my parents' jam. That my mom was like Elton John and Foreigner. My dad was
I
like
love Elton
Fleetwood
John.
Mac, and I do too, but at the time I didn't. My
Yeah.
dad was more like, yeah,
You can almost
Fleetwood Mac
understand,
and the
especially like
Eagles.
with that whole milieu.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I had never really listened to the Beatles. It was like the period where I was first kind of like listening to them. So it was a of course I was listening to it on repeat. Ultimately, is what I'm getting at. Um,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
new for
it
you,
was
so
it
you
was
were
a
like
really
absorbing it.
yeah.
Well, the
But
White Album especially is a pretty trippy one. Like obviously not as overtly trippy as Sergeant Pepper's, but like it
mhm.
still had like all of this surreal kind of. It's more the imagery and lyrics than anything else. Like the sound is a little more tame. It's not so out there and constantly doing weird things.
Oh, totally.
But there's still a lot of weird stuff and sonically with it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Um,
Oh man. Maybe I
yeah.
should tell you
Okay.
a little bit about maybe I should tell you a little bit about how things have been going more recently though, because like I honestly can't say terribly too much about the punk scene at the time, and I also have like sort of difficult feelings with it. But the way we met is absolutely great, and I love telling that story. I love remembering that story. Especially easier for me knowing like looking at it in that lens because like I'm on good terms with the band mates, and well, I don't talk to Alec anymore, but nobody talks to him anymore because he decided to leave Facebook and didn't stay in touch with anybody. And that was the last I ever heard of that. Tony also doesn't really talk to anybody. Casey, well, doesn't talk to me. For I pretty much don't talk to anybody anymore.
I did invite
But
all of them here, so I hope they're in the chat and being like, Seth, how dare you? Because then they should call you because they don't call you. And
oh
I'm
shit, I
calling
outed
you out right
myself.
now if you are listening.
Well, like that's sort of a confession. I don't want to make it out like I'm the victim here because I'm not. Like I don't really talk to anybody either. I really don't.
Oh, you
I
motherfucker!
just wanted to say like
You're part of the problem. No, I'm kidding. No, people grow apart, all that stuff, but that was such a special time in all of your lives, and especially
it
like
was.
it was
Oh
really
yeah.
important for me. Like I didn't have friends in Sonoma County. I
Yeah.
I was pretty green there, and most of the people that I had met at the JC, I wasn't going anymore by the time I met you. I needed to focus on like my actually earning money and eventually moving out of my dad's house, and I just couldn't afford
Crap like
to
that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I couldn't keep I
That was a
didn't
little
keep
bit
going
of
to
a
the
dark
JC.
place in your life at the time, and I remember you telling me that when you told the story in the past, and like it always like warmed my heart so much, like because you are always like saying, "Well, I'll let you say it," basically because you're winding up to that.
But yeah, it was a huge moment for me. You guys were my first friends in Sonoma County, and I love you guys. I loved your band, and I still love your
I always
band.
loved, yeah,
Yeah.
I always loved that aspect of being a bridge to like better times and better people in a place that really wasn't with much of that. I gotta say.
Yeah, it was not a very accepting scene, and there was a lot of just really privileged little white kids pretending that they were homeless, and that didn't sit right with me from the scene that I had come from, where everyone was genuinely in fear of being homeless all of the time. Um,
Yeah, of course.
and I didn't think it was. I thought it was pretty cringe, but uh, then I met you guys, and it was a game changer for me. You guys
Yeah,
took me
fun
in,
times.
and you made sure that I felt accepted and welcomed,
Yeah, you
and
immediately part of our friend group, and like I was also like surprised but very happy that like you like stuck right in, and like all of a sudden everyone was like hanging out like together all the time. Everyone liked you immediately, and like I wasn't terribly surprised because you're awesome, but like you know it was just kind of cool because you don't know what's gonna happen. So
oh, totally,
it's like one of those pleasantly surprised kind of a things.
yeah. Well,
And like it's just sad that things do change, but we all had to grow up and grow apart, so that's normal, I guess. The tadpoles leave the pond.
yeah. I mean,
You know?
I never say never where these things are concerned. I've had friends that I don't talk to for decades, and then suddenly we're back in contact. Like sometimes we'll go forever without talking, but I I have the hardest time letting go of friendships that don't need to be let go of.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean, we're a great
treasure.
example of that. Like, I
Yeah.
talk to you about as often as I can anyway. But like, that's what I was driving at. Is like, out of anybody I hung out with, you're pretty much the only person I talk to, or that I would still say is like a friend on a daily basis. You know,
Mhm. Yeah, moving out
like,
of Santa Rosa makes me see exactly what you're talking about. I don't see a lot of those or talk to a
yeah,
lot
it's
of those
sad.
folks anymore, but I think
Nobody
it's
tries to
the
stay in
nature.
touch, but at the same time, yeah, it is the
Yeah,
nature of the
it's like
thing. And at the same time, I don't judge anybody because it's like, it's hard. Like, I used to be able to wham on a keyboard like nobody's business and like stay up in touch with people, and like I don't have the energy for that anymore. But I'm also like working full time, tired as fuck all the time, you know, doing the miserable grind pretty much.
yeah, we're all basically in that same boat.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it. Is I try and kind of remember those things and not like hold people to an unrealistic standard, just because I know I can.
Exactly.
I mean,
The
I
grind.
know that with the way my brain works, it's rare that I do things in any like order that makes sense to a normal human being. I work on kind of my own time schedule. It's not always like productive or constructive or helpful, but it's just the way I work, and I have gotten used to it. And the people that I care a lot about, they get it. And most of them work in a
Yeah.
similar way, so it's not a
We're all adults
like it
now
doesn't
and
become
understand, yeah.
competitive.
And I'm like that
And
cleaning and maintenance guy doing that clean.
yeah,
You become that guy and you think it's like people like it's got that really low social prestige and like people judge, and like also meet people that like assume that you're like the garbage man kind of person, like in your work sometimes. But like I don't really counter that at the where I currently work so far. I have at other places, but sometimes you still feel a little bit of that, and I feel resentment for that time sometimes. But for the most part, like it's not actually as bad as that, or at least I've kind of become comfortable as that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I guess I am kind of gross. I guess I am kind of disgusting, at least the parts that people don't get to see. Uh,
oh, I think you're perfectly charming most of the time.
certainly charming. I'm certainly charming by voice for sure. Yeah, talking to people. I'm very good with that. I'm good at jazzing and bullshitting and shooting the breeze for sure. I'm not just saying that so you'll believe it, but I think that helps. Uh,
Yeah. Dang,
well,
I started using a radial fill tool for this fire. I'm really liking it. It's turning out great.
I'm glad that's working for you.
I can't wait for you to see this. It's not my best work, but
I
it
can't wait to
wasn't
see it
never going
afterwards
to be.
either. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
not that that really matters, but
yeah, definitely not.
why don't I tell you guys a little bit about Montreal and Canada?
I would love that
Because like,
because I want to get out of
because
the
like,
United States.
well, I it's a really cool place to live to a certain extent. It's so weird. It's hard to sell this the right way because like it kind of sucks, but every place sucks. Also, a city like every other city that sucks, and like weirdly enough, cost of living isn't so bad. Rent isn't so obscene here yet. At least it's not like Vancouver and Toronto, where like rents are basically like New York and San Francisco. But like, things are starting to get that way. And like at this point it's still affordable, but like the current area that I live in is, and I'm sadly unable to move out of because I work nearby, and like that would hold it really suck being far
Mhm,
away. I've already done that for the better rent, and it's really not so worth it. Um
mhm.
but like things are starting to get pricier here. But that's a whole other, I don't want to focus on that. Um we should probably focus more culturally just so you get more of an idea. Like it's cool if you have money like any place. But
Right.
I would have to say though, considering that you're used to living in LA, I think that I don't know where Sam is, but like probably similar. Uh, it's cost wise. You guys would definitely be relieved. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what the cost of living index is like there, but I imagine it's not so great either because it is Vegas. Right.
Uh,
Okay. Sam just said it's not great because people have been moving in from California, which makes sense because like people are, I'm sure, more and more scrambling since. Oh, I love being where there are lots of people, but I guess being able to eat is also a pretty good thing.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, I guess since you guys are used to that, like you probably love moving to Montreal because you're like, oh, it's like actually like more easy to live, kind of. And but like I guess I don't know how wages would be comparable in what in your guys' work, but it works out okay for me. I make a good wage, however, like I'm the only one bringing income in my home at this current time, so things are still like definitely struggling. Regardless, I'll just end that by saying the weirdest thing that I have come across with Canada so far, like everybody thinks Canadians are like these super nice, like oh, we're on the international stage, we're so self-effacing and we're just the nice guy. We're the nice guy, like don't judge us for our James Vanderbeek Ontarian accents. That's what I'm all talking about. Or you're Jordan Peterson Torontonian, where you've been hiding out in academic institutes for so long that you speak English like not even a human being would speak English. But anyway, the weirdest part about Canada by far is the fact that Canadians believe that they invented basketball. I'm just going to let that sink in. Canadians believe that basketball is a Canadian sport. And I will tell you why.
No, I'm very aware of this. I was a basketball nerd, if you recall, when I was a kid.
Oh, I do not recall that because I don't think that you were so into basketball by the time we were hanging out. But I don't actually remember talking about basketball with you at all or seeing anything basketball related in your room. You had nothing but like the cards, the you had like the video cover cards like for DVD cases like of different movies that you were obsessed with on your
Oh
wall, which was really
yeah.
cool.
I
I thought
was
that was
pretty
really cool,
cool.
and you arranged it like in a checkered board fashion. Yes, you were so cool. Can I just polish your knob for you? Just make it real shiny. You
Thank
deserve a
you.
shiny knob to show to the public because you were so cool.
You're correct. Yes, this is all true.
This is all true, by the way. I do have the shiniest knob. You can also see it from space because it's so shiny, which is also on
Yes,
OnlyFans, by the way.
yes. Also true.
Uh,
I deny nothing. Um,
okay, but you were a basketball kid, so like,
yes.
what was your interaction with this fact?
Joe Naismith, or whatever his name, however you pronounce it, was this guy who was the supposed inventor of basketball. However, it's
Well,
definitely
he
been
invented.
something disproven over and over again by
Oh,
people
really?
who actually have brains.
Well, I don't know the history at all. Like, I've just read on Wikipedia who he is, and that he basically invented the rules of the sport.
Yeah, that's more or less correct.
But
But
why
it's
is it not
also
true that he invented it?
because ultimately it comes from a series of other games that were played all across the world. This was it's not necessarily a
Okay, so
complete
it's an amalgam, or
appropriation
it
of
takes
another game.
after it.
Exactly. It is mostly just like a handful of other games that are played with a ball and a circular object you throw the ball through. The
Yeah,
like
hoop or
and
or basket. Yeah.
and even the version that Joe Naismith invented doesn't really have the connection to what we know as modern basketball. Many of the rules and standards of the game have completely changed. Dribbling, I
Oh
don't even
wow.
think was like 100% part of Joe Naismith's original game. Not to mention, like, this would have been so long ago. Like, people played like Jerry West and the 1930s Lakers for so long that, you know, the game doesn't
The
look
thing is that
anything
his
like that
game
anymore.
did have baskets and was called basketball, though. I think that
True.
might be the reason why. Because like they were literally baskets and they didn't even have holes, and somebody was like, "Hey, we could cut holes in the baskets and the ball will just fall out instead of us having to scoop it out with a stick." Because we're fucking morons. Like, oh, that is a good idea. It took a while. better means and methods took some time. Let's be real. That's true. Sam
Oh,
just said the
jeez.
poor guy with the stick's job was eliminated, which is true. Because, like, sadly enough, they did have some. But I mean, come on, like a bat boy is an honorary position. It's not really much of a thing. We just still have them because it's cute.
No one really wants that.
Yeah, it's too much like Batman and Robin, which is creepy.
True. Oopsie.
But anyway,
So, I
let's
just realized
get to
it
the
is.
meat of the matter here.
Oh, bro, I just realized it's 5:50. We're 20 minutes over today, which is fine.
Ah,
Well,
we can keep talking anyway.
I have come to the end of this drawing, but we can keep talking for a few.
Well, let's just wrap this up and maybe do a few funny things, and then we'll try to keep this simple. But the bottom line is Canadians believe they invented basketball because this guy was a dual citizen and an American national born in Canada with American parents, born to American parents. But the dumbest part of all this is they're only calling it basketball because this guy was technically Canadian, born in Canada, but he left Canada early on, never went back, and invented the game in Springfield, Massachusetts. So Canadians are basically like the kid at the party who has to wear like the birthday hat and like has to blow out the candles on the other kid's cake and open some of his presents, even though he's not going to keep them. But, you know, like the mom is like being a huge Karen, is like, come on, let him. He's a huge brat, but let him, indulge him. He needs this. He doesn't understand boundaries because he's so young, and I refuse to teach him.
Dude, it's super hilarious because really Canada doesn't have anything at this point. Like the only thing I can say
Well,
Canada for sure. No. The only thing I can say for sure Canada contributed to the culture is like the only good sketch comedy that's ever existed. Because all of what we do is pretty much shit, and pretty much everywhere across the world, kind of shit. Canada
Canada's got
though,
great comedy, yes. But that's
yeah,
definitely overlooking something huge, which is Canada gave the world hockey, and it's really Quebecois. Like Canada, excuse me, hockey was invented in Montreal. It is a Montreal sport, and it's Canada gave like its best gift to the world, and it should be happy with that. It should be satisfied with that. And if it really was so like humble and meek, like it likes to portray itself internationally, it would be like, we invented hockey and we're happy with that. And they're like, no, basketball's Canadian. Ah, please
no,
love me.
that's actually a really great point. I was gonna be a troll and say hockey sucks, but hockey actually does rule, and I'm just a hater.
Hockey is awesome, dude. The Stanley Cup raise is one of the greatest things ever. I mean,
Oh, I
like,
mean,
let's be real.
I'm one of those
We
people.
are the champions.
Yeah, Mighty
Yeah,
Ducks. I
dude,
have to say you're right
exactly.
about that. Yeah,
And like, we are the champions would not be nearly as awesome and epic as it was without
I don't
in
follow.
hockey movies. Like, you kind of have to follow that one through, but I don't want to explain that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up because I'm gonna go get some food soon. But yeah, do you have any closing thoughts on this Nintendo theory?
Well,
Should we all just give up
oh
on
god.
our daily lives and just worship
Well, you should just be like that guy
the
that's like
Silpho?
at the bar sweating in that meme, like, oh my god. But I think we basically covered the whole everything for the most part. I can't really say anything else about it, to be honest.
Well, I'll say
But
everyone, you should pray to Porygon that Porygon will take mercy on us, on our ever loving souls,
at
and
any time, it could break out of the simulation and destroy us all.
yeah, and
It could
I think
control
other than
all.
that, what?
It could control all of our technology and go full Skynet on us at any minute.
Yeah, beware, beware. But other than that, I just want to say I'm Lava Submersible. You can find me at lava_submersible on Instagram and TikTok. Please check out our work at Nerdcrafty on YouTube, Nerdcrafty Network. Give us a follow if you liked this live stream, and I'll be doing these every Tuesday from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you so much for coming, Seth. I love you, man.
Absolutely. I hope
I'm
that
so
we can
glad
do
we
this
get to
again.
this.
I really hope we do this again because it was fun, and I think that I really hope I was entertaining for people, and I like being entertaining. That's all fun, and I think that just for the last little fun thing I want to share is like just something small because it's fun. I see these mice at work all the time. Like that's kind of a small, sad little self. But the honest thing about bakeries is that there are mice in all of them, so you can be rest assured that no bread is vegan because like people legally have to set out mass traps and kill mice when they have them. So pretty much no bakery is vegan. Let's just settle that. But it's hilarious to me the way I see mice like all the time because like they know you're there before you know they're there. Like they are so freaking fast and like they just like the moment you know that they're there, like you're just seeing like this brown like flash of light just like zoom, like gone like underneath something. So whenever I see them at work, like I'm only ever seeing that, but like it just creates this image in my mind where I just imagine like in their heads they're just like fuck, like shit, like shit, like running out of view, and like very often under things, and like you can just imagine like all the pots and pans that are just like hit in their tiny mouse homes, just like I don't know. That's just the last little bit of humor I can provide.
And if you couldn't tell by now, friends, this is why me and Seth are so close, because we are both absolute goblin brain maniacs. So thank you for coming.
Yeah, monkey brain.
We are. Having me. Yeah, thank you, brother. I'm Lava Sub or Weston. This is Seth, and thank you so much, Sam and Nerdcrafty crew, for helping us do this every week. All right, well, take care,
honestly,
y'all.
in the future, Sam should be like she should probably be with us because like it's weird explaining all these things, and I think it was fun anyway.
Yeah.
All the little commentaries were fun.
All right, y'all. Well, take care.
Anyways, until next time.
Goodbye.